Welcome back, guys, to the Get Hooked podcast.
Hey, it's October. Do you know what that means?
No, candy maybe, or it's fall.
I don't know. Did they cancel trick or treating again? No, it's Slow Down, Move Over Awareness Month.
That's right.
We have National Move Over Day coming up on the 17th of October, and we've got some really big events planned too. We have our very special guest, Miss Angela Roper, coming back to talk about Slow Down, Move Over, talking about laws, talking about how we're going to get the word out in this industry and across every platform we have.
Yes, that is Miss Angela Roper Barnett. And you guys, if you've listened to our podcast, we've had her on. She's such a fierce woman, individual in this industry. She's going to give you a little intro about herself, but we're just looking forward to letting you guys know as much information as we can about move over laws and really the effect it has on not just the operator, but everyone. Whether you're an individual motorist, whether you're in the operator's chair and you're driving, whether you're the dispatcher, whether you're just a family member, we are all connected because of these move over laws, and it's time everyone knows about it.
Yeah, so I just got back from a road trip myself, and I was out there on the road. I saw a lot of stuff happening. We can get into that a little bit later, but there's some awareness is starting to pick up out there. It really feels like
you had a close call, didn't you?
I did. We'll get into that in a minute or two, but it really feels like people are starting to see what's going on, and people are starting to slow down. They're starting to move over,
but not enough.
Not enough, but it's getting there, and
yeah.
We're getting there step by step, but we need to keep pushing. We know that, roadside breakdown, being stranded on the side of the road, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare if you're in a car, if you're in a truck, if you're, Yvonne, you know what I'm talking about. You've been there.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's tough. It is tough.
And for the most part, you're sitting in your vehicle waiting for somebody to come in and essentially rescue you. Mm-hmm. And these folks that are showing up to rescue you and to be the roadside heroes every day are putting their lives at risk. They're stepping out of their truck and their lives are at risk from the moment they pull up until the moment you're back on the road. Everybody's life is in danger in that scenario. And if we can save just one life today, it's worth it.
Absolutely. And that's why today we're going to have a tough but necessary conversation about the hazards of the tow operator's job and why every 6 days an operator is killed on an active job. So let's get into it without further ado.
Get that number down.
So like we said, guys, earlier, we had a special guest on today. And I just got to tell you guys, I'm excited today because we have the wonderful Miss Angela Barnett once again here on Get Hooked. Welcome, Angela.
Hello.
Welcome.
How you doing
back.
today?
Gee, thanks. Is this a paying gig? That's what I want to know.
It should be. Listen, Jackie, our producer, is listening. So you just take these notes, Jackie. Oh man. Well, today, guys, the reason why we have Miss Angela back is for none other than just we want to talk about slow down, move over laws, and we really want to hit home the importance of not even just what move over awareness means, but what we can all do together to advance the movement and make sure that the general public is more aware than ever of what's happening to our tow truck operators. So we're going to hop into this. Angela, of course, we spoke to you a few months ago and we got a brief overview of what you're planning to do, but now it is October and things are looking like they're getting closer to the time. So I want to give our listeners, if they haven't listened already to the previous episode that you're on, I want you to just kind of break down a little bit of what you do, why you're so important to the industry, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of why you're so amazing.
And again, you make me sound great. I like that.
If you didn't hear our first episode with Angela, go back and listen to that one. It was a great time. We all had a good time on that one.
Yeah, we did. That was fun. That was so fun.
Now you made me forget the question.
Yeah. Well, tell us about yourself, Angela. I gave you like a little red carpet rollout walkthrough, but we want to hear from you. Tell us just again a little introduction of who you are, what you do representing the tow industry, and what your plans are for October.
Well, my position is I am the executive director of the Arizona Professional Towing and Recovery Association. That is my full-time gig. But I also am the administrator for 3 other towing associations, one being in Utah, one in Georgia, and one in Tennessee. There's a definite need, for state associations that can't afford a full-time director. And so I kind of feel that need for those states and help them grow their associations. So from that aspect, that's my daytime gig. But my passion is safety for all responders, but mainly towers that are out there on the roadway, keeping everybody going every day. And so I've been in the business for 24 years. Now I'm showing age. But a couple of years ago, I decided that, move over laws are in every state. And so being that the position that I'm in, we need to spread the message of move over, and we need to take it nationwide. And so kind of created a day for that and did a national resolution with Congressman Andy Biggs here in Arizona. And so we have, just moving up and forward and, gaining momentum. Of course, COVID hasn't helped with any of that, but we're still doing it. We're still having our event. And I think that's why we're here today.
Yeah. Well, we definitely want to get deeper into that. We want to hear so much about move over laws and what they are. I know. So if you're a listener, we want you to be aware that there are move over laws, like Angela said, in every single state. And the move over laws are in place to keep emergency professionals, but specifically tow truck operators, safe when they're doing services on the side of the road. We've talked about it before, but every 6 days, and as a statistic, but every 6 days, a tow truck operator is killed in the line of duty while they're working on the side of the road. And so this episode is all about us coming together, hearing about events that are already in place, hearing about what Angela's doing, and then also about what events are in your area and ways that you, as whether you're a motorist, whether you're a family member of a tow truck operator, or you just want to know more, we're going to give you some little nuggets of places where you can be involved. So Angela, my first question for you is if you can break down for us, what exactly in your estimation is Slow Down, Move Over as a movement?
I think one of the biggest things is that, as you said, that we have, every state has a move over law. Not every one of those incorporate towers into that. Every law is written differently, depending on what the state, depending on, as we become more prominent and more people get killed on the side of the road, you see more of that in, all responders. And like, for instance, here in the state of Arizona, the motoring public is included in our move over law. So it's anyone who is on the side of the road in Arizona with flashing lights on. It can be your hazards. Though you're supposed to move over for those vehicles as well. So every, if you can't move over a lane because maybe it's rush hour or, people won't let you over for some reason, then you are to slow down. The standard practice is 20 miles an hour if you can. Below the posted speed limit, because we all know we drive 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. So still, it's way too fast when you're out there on the roadway trying to hook up a vehicle. Very, very dangerous. But that's basically the gist of, move over laws. And again, I would love to see one move over law nationally for, that would incorporate all, like our law, with flashing lights. So, if your child or you're out there with your flat tires, or maybe if you had a Jeep that's broken down or something like that.
Oh, boy, I love it.
Not
I love
you
it.
too.
Right to it.
But maybe if it's broken down the side of the road, sorry, Yvonne, that you've got your flashes on, and people are going to respect that and move over because it does save lives. And here's my spill. When people are out on the roadway and we can't stop distracted driving. We can't stop people being on their telephones. We can't stop people not paying attention or eating food or turning on the radio or looking down the seat, whatever the case may be. We can't stop that from happening. But what we can do is we can create more awareness and spread the message We lost 2 towers last week, and one was in the state of Georgia, and the guy has 4 children and a wife, and being that's one of my states, they all hit hard. I'm not trying to make light of any of the deaths, but we are at 38 right now, and for the year, and being as we lost 44 last year, and this is only September still, and those are only struck-bys. Those are only people being killed on the side of the road by distracted drivers.
We still got a whole winter to go yet, so
Yes, we do.
It's simple. If you're a motorist and you see flashing lights on the side of the road, move over a lane, regardless of what your, and I'm not telling you not to follow the law. What I'm saying is, if your law says just slow down, it is okay if you decide to move over and slow down. That is fine, and my heart, breaks for these families and not just, the families, for the other operators that people work with. And, our last episode, we talk about how this industry is such a family oriented industry, and it hits hard. Just like Angela said, it hits so hard. Even me just sitting here listening to you tell us about the 2 operators that we lost last week, and one of them having 4 children, those children are going to feel that. And we have to do our job as individuals who drive cars. If you are someone that drives a car, you bear the responsibility just like the rest of us.
yeah.
I will say it goes one step farther than that. Yes, you ultimately, you have a responsibility. We all do. I mean, there's times when I'm on the side of the road, and if I, got my headset in, or I'm talking, through the car, but I may be engaged in that conversation, that I may not have full attention to my surroundings, and I can't move over. Maybe the traffic's, too bad, or, it's rush hour or something, and I can't move over, but I do try to slow down. I will try to inch over as far as I can. But the one step farther is, we as towers, we know what those laws are. However, we have to have those hard conversations. We have to have them with the motoring public. We have to have them with our children, with our, aunts, uncles, grandparents, mother, father, brother, sisters, all of them, because they're not aware. So many times I hear, I didn't know that law existed. I didn't know there was one. I didn't know we were supposed to do that. And so we need to start in the pre-driving age and let people know that this is what's coming, and you need to be prepared. So I'm on a roll.
Yeah, get it in the training course. When kids are taking the video training course, if that's a thing that they still do, to before they get their permit and all of that, they have to take that driver's training course. Love to see something, in there. And I think you talked about that on the last time we spoke about this. Yeah, and it's crazy because it is estimated that 50% of the driving public don't know about these laws, which is ridiculous. But, at the same time, that's why we're here, is to push that awareness. And we'll talk a little bit about it later. But Hunk is releasing a public service announcement geared to getting the move over laws more awareness and helping the public understand that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But you mentioned something, and you said sometimes people can't get over. Sometimes there's things that are blocking them being able to move over. And so that reminds me of the story, Dennis, that you were telling me about.
So I had an interesting past couple of days. I spent a few days on the road. I drove from LA down to Austin, Texas, then drove from Austin up to Dallas. So I've been on the road for the past couple of days, been here, there, and just about everywhere. So I did come through the great state of Arizona, Angela. So I know you're going to be upset that I didn't stop in.
I was going to say, wait a minute, my phone didn't ring.
I wasn't going to bother you at 2 a.m. coming through.
Whatever.
But so while I was actually out there, I was actually coming up through, I believe the town's called Blythe. It's right on the California Arizona border right there. And I was coming through I-10, and there was a big rig in the right lane. I was in the left, and I was doing probably slightly above the speed limit, we'll say. And the big rig driver apparently saw another big rig stopped on the shoulder that I didn't see because he was in basically blocking my view from this truck that was on the shoulder, broken down with his triangles out. He put on his signal to move over, and he went to jump over into the left lane almost too quickly and didn't see me, almost ran me off the road. But once I realized that, I was yelling and honking on my horn, but once I realized that he was just trying to get out of the way of the truck on the shoulder with his triangles out, I was like, oh, wow, look at this. And So as I continued going down I-10 through Arizona, through New Mexico, through Texas, I noticed that, especially out in the rural areas, maybe not so much in the city, but people are starting to be aware. People are seeing vehicles on the shoulder, and not just emergency vehicles, not just vehicles with their flashers on, not just trucks with their triangles out. People are just seeing a vehicle that could even be abandoned sitting up on the shoulder, and they're given that lane. They're moving over. They're getting out of the way. So I know we're having potentially maybe the worst year in a long time for struck bys, and I know things are not looking great right now, but it seems like awareness is starting to get out there. Just after being on the road for as long as I was the past few days, you see that there is this recognition that people are starting to understand that people need room to move over. And coming through Arizona, you guys are doing a phenomenal job out there, Angela. Signs for accidents are miles and miles back, and people are starting to move over, 5, 6, 7, 10 miles before there even is something going on. So keep doing what you guys are doing, because it is working.
All of our key stakeholders to be a part in this. And I will say that here in Arizona, we do have that. Of course, they have to listen to me. So, I mean, you get your choice. You want to listen to me, or you want to fix the issues?
Lay the law down. Don't let me. Angela's like, don't make me lay the smack down.
Weigh it out. I mean, I have my pluses and my minuses.
I mean, but it's effective, right? It is effective. So you're doing something right.
Well, let's for the greater good.
Right, exactly. Well, let's talk about October 17th. I became aware of National Move Over Day last year. Me and Dennis did, and I know we talked about this before, where we got a chance to join in.
You don't want to go there again.
Listen, if it wasn't for COVID, Angela, Honk would be there with you, with the parade, with everything. Okay, we would be there. So this year we're just gonna have to settle for us sending you some Slow Down Move Over stickers and some and supporting you as much as we can from Los Angeles.
We're going to raise as much awareness as we can from our side.
Hey, I'm every little bit helps, and I will take what I can get. Absolutely.
Well, tell us about what's planned October 17th for National Move Over Day in Arizona.
We try to gather people together and do an awareness parade here in the Phoenix area, and drive across the whole city basically. I think last year we did over 50 miles. And then this year, I think our parade is like 45, something like that. But we are still having our parade. So Move Over Day is, it's a day that was created with the goal in mind that we want national media attention. We want different states in some form or fashion, whether it's a parade or people sitting outside Walmart handing out flyers, to make people more aware of these laws. And roadside parks are a great way to do that, again, with the flyers and just having those conversations. But it's one collective day. So here in Arizona, we are continuing with our parade because we can do that in social distance. We are not doing the big shebang as we've normally done. We are going to do a golf tournament called Move Over Madness Golf. So that will be the day before on the 16th, and to try to create awareness that way out on the golf course, because we can social distance there as well. And then with the Move Over Day parade that we are going to have. And we have our key stakeholders. I got the confirmation yesterday that our DOT will be involved, our DPS. Usually we have someone from the Governor's Highway Safety Administration there as our opening welcome. So we're still trying to do a lot of it. We will have to have, safety precautions in place. We're hoping, and I do know that there are some other states that will be participating as well. I don't know what it will look like in those states, but it's a hard year for all of us, considering everything. But we can't let it go by the wayside. So whether you have a parade or whether you just hand out flyers, I don't care what it is. Do a PSA with your cell phone. I don't care. And I probably should apologize to the listeners that follow our National Move Over Day Facebook page, because I went on a rant the other day. I was sitting in an airport, and it was the day that the tower got killed in Georgia. And it really just hits home when I see the pictures of the little kids. And, I've had to make those phone calls when I was at when I when I was at the museum and being the director and in charge of the survivor fund, and that the committee that we have was great, but that there has to be one phone call that gets made to the family, to say how sorry we are for the losses and the tears that you hear and everything on the other end. So that's a hard position to be in, but
it's heartbreaking.
It is, so I went on a rant and a tear, and I put it out there, but I put out, because myself and two other gentlemen from across the United States collect this data, that how we come up with these numbers of struck bys. And we do our very absolute best. One is from Pennsylvania, one is from Virginia, and we are all three tied to respondersafety.com. And what we do is we just blast social media with everything we can find to stick it on. We, put that message out there, whether it's someone getting killed or survivors of the family, or what people are doing in the States, or whatever it is that's, related to struck by deaths due to distracted driving. We try to, and it's not just towers. I mean, it's every agency. We have lost 16 towing operators, and we have lost 15 LEOs, law enforcement officers. So, numbers don't lie, and we have to get those numbers down. One life is too many. So,
yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Again, another one of the things I saw while I was out on the road is I think it was somewhere near. I don't know. I want to say maybe Waco. There's a whole series of billboards dedicated to DOT workers and construction workers, and trying to raise awareness about slowing down through construction zones and following the signs and doing the posted limit through construction zones and through work zones. That's something that we as an industry have never had, and maybe it's something we need to start looking towards is really raising the awareness out there on the road while people are on the road.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. We have to do a better job. And I can tell you this, because I sit on several national committees and involved in a lot of traffic incident management, which plays into this, because one of the things we talk about is how we reduce risk out on the roadway. And if we can clear a crash scene faster, that reduces all responders' risk being there, because that's when you get what we call the looky-loos, people that, the distracted people, driving down, nosy people want to look and see what are they looking for, blood or something? I don't know. But anyway, but they're out there and they're looking, and that slows down traffic, which means it increases our risk. And so
I'm usually looking to see what towing companies out there hooking up so I can give them a shout out. But
well, good to know at least you're looking, but you are distracted when you're doing that. Just saying, okay?
I know. We all do it. We all
you're
do
a problem driver. So, but being involved in that, I was on a webinar this morning that's dedicated to traffic incident management, and it is DOT people, it is key partners, what we call stakeholders, that are involved in traffic incident management. Who every one of us has lost somebody in our different agencies, and so the conversations are there, and the awareness is there, and every time I spoke on it last month about what we're doing, and how we can make it better, and different things we can do. So again, it comes back to just the communication, but we are getting the awareness through government agencies, and the federal government is taking note. Trust me. They are, and I was blasting them all the day on the web. Good thing they didn't give me a microphone. But, I'm in the little chat pod, and I'm just typing as fast as I can, on there. But again, we have to do, we all have to have, around the dinner table, holidays are coming, people are going to be traveling. We need to have those conversations before your children, your aunts, or uncles get on the roadway, to say, hey, if you're passing through this state or any state, or driving here, driving there, you need to have those conversations.
Yeah, holidays are coming up. You can have these conversations around the Thanksgiving table soon. It's got to be better than talking politics.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Right now, what would you say, Angela, should be the first piece of legislation federally that would make a huge difference? If there was no funding problem, there was no barriers politically, what would be the first piece of legislation that we could get in play, or should get in play, I should say?
Well, if that's a two-part answer. So let me say it this way. Angela personally would say, make it a felony if you don't move over or slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And I want a heavy price tag on that ticket. You can stick it in jail for all. I don't care. I mean, and I'm guilty because there are times when you can't. We know that, but you can also slow down and you can pay attention. You know, you can get your head out of that phone or stop taking pictures of stuff on the side of the road or whatever. But
Yeah.
I think that we need a federal law that blankets every state that says this is what the law is. So every driver knows, whether I'm in New Mexico or Michigan, that move over law is the same no matter what state I'm in. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, it needs a heavy penalty with that, because what we know, these are facts, that if you get a ticket for not slowing down or moving over, and you go to court and you want to pay that ticket, or you got other tickets that go along with that for some reason, because right now it's a secondary offense, which means they're not going to just stop you unless they're doing a detail for that. They're not just going to stop you for not moving over. They have to have a reason, depending on what your laws are in different states. They're not going to just stop you for that. Again, unless it's like, if they're doing a detail for DWIs or whatever detail it is that day. Those tickets are getting thrown out. They're a lesser fine. I think it's $147, $150, maybe it's $200. I don't even know, but it's not enough. My life is worth more money than that. My mother would definitely agree with me. So I believe that we have.
And these are penalties the motorist will pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then if you kill somebody, if we're not moving over because you're a distract for whatever reason that you did not move over, and you hit somebody on the side of the road and they died as a result of that crash or being hit, then you need to go to jail. I don't care, because to me,
it's unfortunate, but it's vehicular manslaughter, and it's very unfortunate.
It is. And no matter what, I don't care if you're drunk, or I don't care how old you are. I don't care what the case may be. But I believe, and I would say this, even if I have grandchildren. So if one of my grandchildren did not pay attention because they were on their stupid phone and they didn't move over and they hit somebody, I'm going to tell you, they should put them in jail. And that may sound cold, and I apologize, and people can criticize me that all day long. But I would expect people to do that to me, because our lives are worth more than that. And we are trying to do a service out there on the roadway, and we should be penalized if we're not abiding by the law, and I'm a firm believer in that, so I guess if, because I've been in a tow truck, I just think, and I know I'm carrying on and I'm sorry, but I just feel that it's too important. So federal law, higher stakes, because the one way to get people's attention is to hit the pocketbook. So if we make a federal law that blankets every state, and we make those fines exorbitant, and then if you do kill somebody by striking them on the roadway, then you should go to jail no matter what. Because I see too many times people of 6 months, this person got probation. They killed somebody and they got probation. Or they hit somebody. Maybe that person didn't die, but they hit them, and then they caught the person, but they didn't. They got 6 months probation,
which is crazy, because it's 6 months out of that person's life, but it's the rest of the person who's injured's life. It's the rest of the operator's life. It's the rest of their family's life. So
when you're out there trying to do your job and somebody comes up because they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, and your life is taken because of that, there needs to be high penalties for that. And I'm put you under the jail. I don't care.
It's needless. It's really what it is these things could be prevented. There was a case earlier, I think it was earlier this week or late last week. There was I believe it was a young man driving his personal vehicle, ran into the back of a parked tow truck that was servicing somebody on the highway. Thank goodness the operator was okay, and the motorist that he was assisting was okay. But unfortunately, the young man that didn't move over or didn't slow down ended up dying when he ran into the back of a flatbed. So there's personal risk for you too by not slowing down. But I think the other key thing that we don't talk about enough too is what insurance companies can be doing to really promote this as well, and really not only raise awareness, but on that penalization side is we think about points on driver's licenses and that rating scale that they use to raise our rates. This should absolutely be something that raises your rates through the roof. If you fail to slow down and move over, you're hurting somebody that is essentially working for an insurance company. Most tow providers do some sort of work for an insurance company. These are your people. So what we would also like to see something along the lines of, stiffer penalties, rate increases for violations, and really just going after these people who do not slow down and move over. And again, like you said, Angela, we've all been guilty of it. We've all done it to a certain extent where we're just not paying enough attention, not paying as much attention as we should. Almost got me run off the road last weekend, but it's that awareness of just knowing that this is what you're supposed to be doing, and you're going to get punished if you don't. And we don't want you to end up taking somebody's life, which is why, the first time violations should be higher. The points on your driver's license should go up. It should be a deterrent.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and everybody has, like you guys said, everybody has been in a situation where they could have slowed down and moved over, or they simply had no time. This is a great time to check yourself and to say, what are my driving habits and how do they contribute to preventable deaths on the road? How they contribute. I mean, you may not have been in that accident. I myself was, guilty of it the other day. I came around a corner and there was a tow truck right there and a car right there. And I didn't even have enough time to get over, but I still said to myself out loud, slow down and move over, or slow down, and I'm like, it's like, you got to check yourself sometimes before it even gets that far.
And I know we talk about training and things like that all the time. We talk about awareness within the industry. That's the other piece of this too, is we are never as an industry going to stop distracted driving. It's going to happen.
Jackie sent over a meme. I would say a meme.
A factoid.
But what'd you say?
A factoid.
A factoid. I like that. A factoid. So Jackie sent over a meme that says at 55 miles per hour, sending or reading a text takes your eyes off the road for about 5 seconds, which is long enough to cover a football field. So if you just take a second to pause and think about that, long enough for you to drive a football field, how many tow trucks, cars, situations could you have passed by in those 5 seconds?
And not even realized it.
And not even realize it.
I want to speak to something really quick. As you said, when you were talking about, we have to check ourselves. And I'll be the first one. And anybody who's ridden with me, I'm a little bit of a road rage driver.
I knew it. I mean,
yeah,
my type of lady.
That's the kind of personality.
Nothing about your personality would lead me to believe that.
I know. I'll just give you a little insight. So, but that, so we've all done things, and it's no different if you have a couple drinks or just, because if you look at this from an outsider's perspective, and, they'll say, well, there's laws that say I'm not supposed to drink and drive either. Well, no, that's a choice. You have a choice when you get in that vehicle, but that tower standing on the side of the road, or that officer or that firefighter does not have a choice to be out there on the roadway. They're doing their job,
right.
So
and beyond that, their job is helping someone else. So whether that tow truck driver is there or not, there's still that person that's on the side of the road. And what's brought to light is the fact that the person going to help that person on the side of the road is the person at most risk.
Yes. And, we don't only track, we don't do as good a job, deaths are more prominent, and that's really sad, but that we look at it that way. However, we also track, injuries. So it's, struck by injuries where they were just injured. Maybe they just went to the hospital for a little while and they didn't, death didn't come from that. And we do property damage. So where maybe everyone was outside the vehicle, but the vehicle was hit. And so we track those things too. And if we look at it as a big picture, you would be astounded at the numbers because those things don't get, all the attention that, I still post those, if a car gets hit, like I posted one like 2 days ago, I think, that, a fire truck was hit at a crash site. And then another one was an officer's vehicle, at a crash site. And they're just, again, they're outside the vehicle, but This is, all these things matter because it's the end result's the same. It's because of the distracted driver and people not paying attention to what they're doing.
So you mentioned property damage too. That's another, financial impact
Yes.
that people really have to take into consideration. This affects every level of automotive, transportation, roadway, construction. This affects so many different industries, so many different walks of life. This affects anyone that uses the roadway, has automobile insurance, owns a vehicle. This is important to you, and it should be at the forefront of your mind whenever you're in the vehicle.
Yeah, at the basis. I mean, if you don't know how much a tow truck costs, if you're a listener and you have no idea, I implore you to go and look it up and see what the going rates for a light duty, even if it's just a light duty, tow truck. Go and take a look. It's not cheap. It is not cheap. And not to mention, we don't think about it often, but, there's health insurance involved. And, if that driver is injured, well, if that injury is anything that is debilitating, that is their line of work going forward. So that's another thing.
I would think that, and what I would love to see is, when you mentioned, Dennis, about, insurance, I would love to see insurance companies become more involved. Not that they're not, but I would love to see them do a better job of helping promote this as well. And I tell everybody all the time, PSAs are cheap and easy. It doesn't have to be a big production. Cell phones are everywhere. And I've filmed several of them with my cell phone, and they may be stupid looking, but at least the message is out there and you can click it and it uploads really quickly to Instagram I have, 1,400 friends on my Facebook page, my personal one. So, that gets a lot of views, So if you do things like that, it only takes one person to do that. And then somebody else shares that. So we can spread the message. We can. We just need to do it outside of our industry because, we do a lot of that. And that's where we need to really make it known to other people or people just getting in the business or people who may want to be getting in the business.
Yeah.
They need to Google it. And, like this podcast needs to come up. Well, then maybe they click on that and then they get a whole wealth of information and that spurs them to look at other things. So, yeah, we need to, as an industry ourselves and insurance companies, I do believe that we need to definitely,
So we know, Angela, we know some of our insurance provider partners listen to this show. So hopefully they can raise awareness within their own organizations too. Reach out across lines. It doesn't matter, what insurance company. It doesn't matter what roadside provider. This affects all of us. This is an industry-wide problem. This is a problem bigger than our industry. This is a problem bigger than just the towing and roadside industry. This is a problem for everybody who's ever had a flat tire, and Yvonne happens to have a flat tire every 3 weeks. So,
which at this point, I'm like, you promised to teach me how to change that tire. You just want to hear this story every time we do an episode of this podcast. But the real thing is that, like Dennis was saying, we do have to work together, and that's one of the things that Honk wants to help change. Is we definitely want to increase, the move over awareness. Our service provider network, and a lot of you guys out there listening, you guys are tow truck professionals, and that is Honk's biggest asset. And we're trying to do everything that we can to keep our network safe and others, others who maybe aren't even a part of our network yet, but we want to keep everyone safe. If move over laws could just save one life, that would be a huge win for everyone. And one of the things that we decided to do this year is to, like I said, I mentioned earlier, we created a public service announcement. Like you mentioned, Angela, create a public service announcement, or better yet, you could just use honks. Ours is simply directed towards motorists and anyone in the industry, anyone who is who is listening to Honk and looking for what we're doing. Like Dennis said, insurance companies, some of our partners, we put this PSA together to create awareness. So, and we actually created it for you, Angela. We created for other tow association directors, for individual tow businesses, anyone who wants to spread awareness, you actually can go to the link of this episode, and we're going to provide that for you in the description. But we're going to get that out for everyone and share it. Take it, share it on your page, share it on your personal pages, your business pages, whatever you need to do to, like you said, if you have 1,400 people following you on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere, share it, use it, and send it out and spread the word. We did that for free. So
yes, no, and I love that. When I shared my rant, because I not only did it on National Move Over Days page, I shared it on my personal page, and it was a little bit different of a rant, but I incorporated the spreadsheet of the deaths on there, and so people could relate that those are really people, and it shows the states. And so when you look at that, but on top of that, and I forget, I think the last time I looked, it had like 25 shares. So even though that may be a lower number, it's still those people shared and somebody else shares. So I mean, that's good. But one thing I want to speak to really quick, because I don't think we can talk about this, because we talk about everyone's responsibility, but there is another, responsibility also. And Dennis, you sort of touched on this briefly a minute ago. So people say all the time, people should move over. And yes, why does this person get more attention, or this does, or okay. If you have your lights on and you have your vest on and you've parked your tow truck in the correct spot, or your law enforcement car, your fire truck in the right place, and you've done traffic incident management training, that's all well and good. So all those factors help. Every bit of it helps. But I think one thing that for people out there listening that have not had any kind of training, or don't understand what we're talking about when we talk about traffic incident management training, it's free training. If you need it, please put my email in there, and I will help anybody. I'll come teach you a course. I will help do anything I can. But we need to make sure our operators have the knowledge of proper ways to do things. Where does the customer get placed? Where do we put them? Do they stay on the back of the truck when we're trying to hook it up, in between the car and the tow truck? So if somebody does come up and hit them, that they get killed also? No, we don't. We need proper placement of our customers. We also need to know where we stand. And this is something that's easy for us if we're operators, but someone who hasn't had any kind of formal training, they may not know these things, especially if they're young, just coming into the business, or somebody just started a business. We need to make sure that we are getting that information out there as well. So there's lots of free training out there. And I'm not a plug person, but I will say that, and it's free. So if you don't have a lot of money, respondersafety.com does offer fantastic training. And I think that, and it's all traffic incident management based. So I do think that there is options out there. So I'm not talking about tow training. I'm not talking the proper way to hook up a car. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, how do we place our vehicle on the roadway? Where do we stand when we're actually, how can we face traffic and still hook up that vehicle? So those things that people need to understand, because there are a lot of people who don't know these things. And we need to make sure we are doing that portion also, besides turning our lights on, and wearing our safety vest, everything that we're supposed to do. We need to make sure we're doing that one extra step also.
Yes, education.
Two things that I see out there that drive me absolutely crazy, drove me crazy when I was a manager, when I had trucks on the road and drivers that I was responsible for. Working from the traffic side of the truck. Why? You have dual controls on your truck for a reason. Use the non-traffic side of your truck. It takes an extra 2 seconds to walk to the other side of the truck and walk back, and it could save your life.
Absolutely. I firmly. So those are just little things that people may not, and a lot of it's habit too. We're really bad about that. We're creatures of habit, and we definitely have to do a better job of that.
And the other thing that really, I guess, grinds my gears is, and this is something that's bothered me for, got to be close to 15 years now, is the guy that rides around. He's got one car up on the deck, nothing on the tail on a flatbed, and he's got his ambers going, driving down the road, sitting at the red light, pulling into McDonald's to grab a cup of coffee. The ambers are going. Unless your state requires it, and even then, honestly, it's it does not make sense for you to have your ambers going when you're just driving in traffic. The analogy I always gave my drivers was, if Joe Consumer can rent a U-Haul, put his car on the back of his U-Haul trailer, drive down the road, drive across the country without a single light on, why do you, the trained professional, need to have your lights on while you're in tow?
Absolutely. Grinds my gears too, Dennis.
Those lights should only be used when you need to be seen so you can be protected. The public has become so desensitized to flashing lights to begin with, and our amber yellow lights are everywhere. We don't have exclusive use of those. We have plumbers and electricians and cable companies running around with their lights on. That's a whole other conversation for some legal experts in the future. But if you're not in danger, if you're not in a danger zone, you're not actively out of the truck, loading, unloading, in a danger zone, turn the damn lights off.
I agree.
Period.
And it doesn't matter what color your lights are. I'm sorry. I agree. I mean, that is another conversation, but I hear that all the time. Well, if we had red and blues, they would pay more attention. No, they wouldn't. Nope. They'd still be distracted drivers. They'd still hit your car. Yep. It wouldn't matter what color your lights are, because you can have your safety vest on, your lights on, parking the properly, and be on the other side of the vehicle working and still get healed. And it has not. I mean, I just gave you the numbers: 16 towers, 15 law enforcement officers, and so the light color really doesn't matter.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'd love to see, different light colors, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. The other thing too is and this may sound a little callous, but make sure you're doing the right thing so that if God forbid something does happen, your family can collect and your family can make good on going after the person that caused your death, because there are lawyers and there are companies out there that will fight tooth and nail to make sure that their clients get protected. And if you get struck and killed and you're not wearing your vest and you didn't have your truck parked the right way and you were using your lights the wrong way and you were working from the wrong side of the truck, there's a lawyer that's going to argue that you weren't doing the right thing and their client's not responsible for your death. So make sure you're doing the right thing all the time. That way you're covered. And even in the worst case, the worst of worst cases, if a tower loses their life, their family is still protected. It's risky enough being out there on the road. You don't need to take additional risks that are unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, guys, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I really think that our listeners have learned a lot from what we've all shared. Angela, thank you so much for just coming on again today and working with us and just really helping us spread awareness about move over laws. If you need a reminder, there are several things that you can do to get involved wherever you are. If you're in Arizona, make sure you find out more about National Move Over Day. If you are a tow truck operator or business, make sure you join that parade and, make it as robust as possible and get in there and help out. If you're in California, we know that the California Tow Association is doing a challenge, which I believe you post a picture of your tow truck with the slow down, move over signage, and use a hashtag. There's so many different ways. Share the honk PSA, send it out to anybody anybody, period. Just send it out to anybody, and it's free to use. So, and if you have questions about more safety training, reach out to Angela. We're going to post her email so that way you have access to her. And if you want more information, don't be afraid to use that. But if every person shares the message on their individual social pages, then we can probably reach thousands and thousands of motorists and keep the word going. So
let me tag onto that real quick, Yvonne, before we go. Two things. One is that I created a guideline a couple of years ago to assist people in other states that want to be involved and do something maybe, and it tells you how to go about doing that. So I'm happy to share that at any time with anyone. So if they contact you or they can contact me. And the other thing is, don't forget the goal. Our goal is for National Move Over Day to do everything on one day. if at all possible, in every state. That way we gain national media attention, because I would love to be sitting drinking my coffee one morning and watching, CBS or NBC. I don't care which one, but one of those. I would love to be watching one of
All
them.
of them.
None of them. Yeah, all of them,
And I would
actually.
love them to pick it up and go, look what happens on this day every year. And we didn't know this law existed, because I guarantee you those people sitting up there in New York don't know. So,
Mhm.
but that being said, I would love to have that done. That's the goal, to create, because if you can broadcast that nationwide,
Yeah.
and can you just imagine how many lives we could save by making those people aware? And go to your schools, talk to kids, put on seminars. There's a ton of things you can do. So yes, please get involved. Don't say it's somebody else's problem, because the next person that gets hit's going to be you, because you said that. So don't.
Mhm.
We
Please
all
don't.
have a stake in this. We all
Yes,
have
we do.
skin in this game. And if people share the dumbest crap on social media,
The
and
memes.
The memes.
people really share a ton of crap. And if you can click like and share something, and it could save one life, it's absolutely worth it. Let's get in this together. Let's make this a nationwide movement. Let's get the
Yes.
word out, and let's do whatever we can in our own individual worlds, as companies, as brands, as towers, as insurance providers, as trainers, as experts, as wherever you are in this industry, you have a stake in it. Get the word out there.
We can do it, guys. Yes, let's make it nationwide.
Yes.
Nationwide.
Please.
Now,
Thank you.
and if
And
you're
I can't
listening, of
thank you
course.
guys enough.
Oh man, listen, we
Thank
are
you.
so grateful you came on to share everything. So we can't thank you enough. But if you're a listener, this is your first episode, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, download the episodes. If you are using the PSA, make sure you share that PSA and then tag us in the post so that we can follow up with you on that as well. We want to make sure that everybody gets a chance nationwide to know about move over laws.
Guys, comments, likes, social media, hit us up, talk to us, interact. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you want to hear, what you want to say. We really want to be a voice for this industry. And
yeah,
this is
tell
our
us
way
your
of doing it.
stories. There's nothing more powerful than a spoken word and likeness in stories. Tell us what you've been going through. Leave us comments. We want to know.
Yes, because I'm going to share it on my page, and then let's see if we can't make it go, that PSA go wide.
Yes.
Do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Angela, thank you again. And we will be speaking with you on the 17th of October for National Move Over Day.
Perfect.
Woo.
Ooh.
You guys stay safe out there.
You too. Thank you. What an episode.
Oh, man.
Angela's a lot of fun, even though
She's so fun.
we get serious here and we really start digging into these issues, but it's nice to have somebody who can really bring light to an issue like this. Angela really is the heart and soul of Slow Down, Move Over.
I'm saying, my type of lady. So I love having her on the show, and I feel like at this point we might come up with reasons just to keep bringing her back because she's so fun.
No, we might have to pay her eventually.
I know. Remember, guys, it takes all of us to come together and make sure that awareness is spread about move over laws. One thing we want to ask you to do is tag us. Let us know. We want to hear from you. What are you doing for National Move Over Day to spread awareness? Tag us. Let us know. Leave comments on the episode. But make sure that if you have nothing going on, either look for a local event in your area, or at the very least, and doesn't have to be at the very least, you can do it at the very top as well, but share the honk PSA, the honk public service announcement, tag us in your posts, and get this out there. Let's spread the word and make it go nationwide.
We love our network. We're here for them. We want to do as much as we can for them.
We love you guys.
We're nothing without our network. Without towing roadside professionals, the roads would come to a halt, and we really need to respect that, and we really need to start putting some value on these lives out there, and not just us. Everybody who has a stake in this. This is important. It's important to me. And it should be important to you too.
Absolutely, yeah, and it like you said, it should be important to anyone listening, because we respect so many of our heroes on the daily basis, and tow truck operators are no different. So respect our heroes, and let's get the word out there.
Yeah, let's share all the social stuff. I can never remember that. That's why I keep
No worries. Make sure you tag us on our socials. You can do it on Instagram or Facebook at Honk for Help. And that is Honk, the number 4, and help. There are lives that could be saved and should be saved. And all of us together can work together to make move over laws aware. So that way that is the case.
Slow down, move over, get hooked.
Period.